As a medical doctor, it is my duty to evaluate the situation with as much data as I can gather and as much expertise as I have and as much experience as I have to determine whether or not the wish of the patient is medically justified. My ultimate aim is to make euthanasia a positive experience. The patient's autonomy always should be respected, even if it is absolutely contrary. The decision is contrary to best medical advice and what the physician wants. Yes, we need euthanasia for certain cases where people are in comas or too immobile to even press a button. The American people are sheep. They're comfortable, rich, working. It's like the Romans, they're happy with bread and their spectator sports. The Super Bowl means more to them than any right. The Supreme Court of the United States has validated the Nazi method of execution in concentration camps, starving them to death. Freedom has a price. Most people aren't willing to pay it. I have no regrets, none whatsoever. I will admit, like Socrates and Aristotle and Plato and some other philosophers, that there are instances where the death penalty would seem appropriate. My intent was to carry out my duty as a doctor, to end their suffering. Unfortunately, that entailed, in their cases, ending of the life. This is not a trial. This is a lynching. There is no law. First of all, do any of you here think it's a crime to help a suffering human end his agony? Any of you think it is? Say so right now. Well, then, what are we doing here? Let's hope you feel better now. I'm for absolute autonomy of the individual, and an adult, competent woman has absolute autonomy. It's her choice. What looks like enjoyment is the sneer of contempt. That's not a smile. Not one has shown an iota of fear of death. They want to end this agony. The patient decides when it's best to go. Anytime you interfere with a natural process, you're playing God. God determines what happens naturally. That means when a person's ill, he shouldn't go to a doctor because he's asking for interference with God's will. But of course, patients can't think that way. I'm trying to knock the medical profession into accepting its responsibilities, and those responsibilities include assisting their patients with death. The Jews were gassed. Armenians were killed in every conceivable way. So the Holocaust doesn't interest me. See, they've had a lot of publicity, but they didn't suffer as much. A transfer of money should never be involved in this profound situation. Although illness is profound, too, but medicine's a business today. It's a business. The single worst moment of my life was the moment I was born. If you don't have liberty in self-determination, you've got nothing. That's what this country is built on. And this is the ultimate self-determination, when you determine how and when you're going to die when you're suffering. I think the Supreme Court does have the authority, which is not used, to declare a blanket right for all people, all adults. Everyone is going to die. Am I a criminal? The world knows I'm not a criminal. What are they trying to put me in jail for? You've lost common sense in this society because of religious fanaticism and dogma. I don't persuade to suicide. We are all terminal. I'm not the kind of guy who has best friends. You've got to know what death is to know life. I knew I was getting into one of the most illegal things in the world. It was the right thing to do. I always said all my life if I wasn't born and they gave me the question I'd say I don't want to be born. I hate to say this, but I'll repeat it. After death, all we know that you do is stink. There is nothing anyone can do anyway. The public has no power. The government knows I'm not a criminal. The parole board knows I'm not a criminal. The judge knows I'm not a criminal. Listen, when you take my liberty away, you've taken away something more precious than life. I mean, what good is a life without liberty? Huh? None. Rotten travesty. Yeah, send me to jail for contempt. Try that. Go ahead. Among doctors in general, I think more than half support what I'm doing. Look at the forces against me. They don't want me out. They're afraid I'll cause trouble if I get out. 5,000 to 6,000 people die every year waiting for organs, but nobody cares. I'm not lying to myself like most people. My religion centers in different areas than what's considered conventional religion. You can cite me for contempt, Your Honor. I don't care. I don't enjoy good food. I don't enjoy flashy cars. I don't care if I live in a dump. I don't enjoy good clothes. This is the best I've dressed in months. You're basing your laws and your whole outlook on natural life on mythology. It won't work. That's why you have all these problems in the world. Name them: India, Pakistan, Ireland. Name them all these problems. They're all religious problems. I will go to what they call a court. Only they call it a court. Maybe I won't stay out of prison, who knows? None of them want to delay. Understand that, none of them. She made the decision that her existence had lost its meaning, and you cannot judge that. There's no doubt I expect to die in prison. All the big powers, they've silenced me. So much for free speech and choice on this fundamental human right. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.